I'm using my online dating experience and if I get any dates to improve my relationship skills and challenge myself. And I'm really into the work of Terrence Real, a very enlightened couples therapist, in my opinion, out of the Boston area. And I'm going to teach you a few things that I learned in the book. So, the there's a thing called the crunch when your partner triggers you, and the reason that relationships usually disintegrate over time is because when people feel triggered, they resort to one of these five losing strategies. These are losing strategies, guys, in any relationship. Romantic, with your children, at work, but we're talking romantic. Needing to be right. So there are five. Needing to be right. Controlling your partner. Unbridled self-expression. Retaliation. And withdrawal. So those are the five losing strategies, and couples usually get into some kind of a dance with these strategies. For example, I'm going to give you some examples. How about that? I'm going to give you some examples. Hold on a second. Well, I decided not to. It's too much reading. But what happens in a relationship is that one partner's losing strategy will trigger the other partner's losing strategy. So one person starts to be controlling, the other person withdraws. One person starts with this unbridled self-expression, the other person retaliates or controls. So to be successful in a relationship, we need what he calls a second consciousness, where you put the relationship ahead of your own need to react, and you move from your usual track of retaliating, withdrawing, and controlling, and jump into this totally new track, B. You just jump tracks. Second consciousness. And he talks about, I'm going to give you a couple examples of, these examples are super short, of something that couples have done. He calls them Ethan and Kendra. This is pretty short, so just bear with me. Months of Kendra's depression have driven Ethan crazy. His patience gone, he finds himself angry, even screaming at what he sees as her helplessness. Despite the fact that Kendra has found and is using both talk therapy and medication, neither has helped very much. In time, Kendra and her doctor will probably find effective treatment, but meanwhile, Ethan's anger leaves Kendra only feeling worse and more powerless to change. The more Ethan gets angry, the more Kendra gets immobilized. Okay, so there's the pattern. The more he gets angry, the more she gets immobilized. Ethan and Kendra could be described as being caught in a scolding father, helpless child deal. So couples get into these different dances. So no matter what the issue is, it's a particular way of interacting that's called their dance. And usually it's pretty unhealthy. So the scolding father, helpless child dance. And then later on in the book, it turns out that Ethan is copying the very contemptuous nature in which his father talked to his mother, or his mother talked to his father, I guess. And he's copying that. And Kendra is shutting down the way she shut down around her raging mom, or something like that. But the real problem was that he was angry already before she became depressed, which probably contributed to her depression. So this dance was going on long before her depression. In fact, Ethan's mother, so you have to see where your bad deal comes from. Ethan's mother radiated resentment throughout much of Ethan's life. She was a perennial angry victim of her husband's slow degenerative battle with MS, just as Ethan now radiates resentment about Kendra's battle with depression. So he's just naturally just copying what he saw at home. But there are better ways. I'll get to that in a second. Then we have Rebecca and Lonnie. Rebecca has always been jealous, but after Lonnie's affair, she has become obsessed with the fear that he might lie to her again. Each night, Rebecca grills Lonnie about his whereabouts, searching for inconsistencies in his stories. Over and over again, she catches Lonnie hiding something that he thinks will upset her. That his business took him to his ex-mistress's neighborhood, for example, or that a close colleague of his ex-lover called him about something. Lonnie explains that he doesn't always fess up to these innocent situations because he knows Rebecca will be a nightmare, quote unquote, if he does. So here's the thing, here's the dance. The more Rebecca interrogates her husband, the more he conceals the truth. Rebecca and Lonnie could be described as being caught in a controlling mother bad boy deal. And now you know why so many people have problems in their relationships, because they don't have these, they're not reading this book. Everybody's stuck in some kind of a pattern. Now with Rebecca and Lonnie, Rebecca's dad had lost some money in a business and lived the rest out of his days with a modest salaried employee, broken in spirit and henpecked by his wife, who insisted on a minute accounting of his every expenditure, just as Rebecca insists on a minute accounting of Lonnie's whereabouts. None of these people that we described just now are horrible people. They're ordinary people caught in bad deals. The painful dramas they each grew up with spill into their marriages with the seeming inevitability of a classic tragedy. Their relationships are crowded with ghosts. Here's a rule. If you think that your relationship will improve once particular stressful issues like money, parenting, or sex get resolved, that's what you think, but it's actually the other way around. You'll be able to successfully tackle tough issues only after your relationship improves. You must change your usual approach. You must change your bad deal. Okay, life stressors will rarely determine a couple's dynamic. Your relationship's dynamic will determine how well or how poorly you'll handle life stressors. And then the interesting thing is, a lot of times people will get into relationships hoping to get from their partner what they didn't get at home. It's usually subconscious. Like you always wanted your dad to provide for you, so now you look for a man to provide for you. Or you always wanted to be loved no matter what, so you're looking for someone to love you no matter what. Or you always wanted to be validated, or you always wanted to be accepted, or whatever you wanted that you didn't get from your parent is what you're looking for in your spouse, and they're not gonna give it to you, and you're gonna get triggered and start this dance. And sometimes people are aware, they're like, well, I didn't get enough love in my family growing up, so I'm looking for a partner to love me. But that never works, because that's a child strategy, and adults have to meet their own needs, and it will never happen. You'll just get into more and more toxic dances. The healing doesn't come when we replay the old failing drama and win. The healing comes when we give up trying, okay? Or healing comes when we give up. In fact, let's see, and I circled this part too. Let's see. So, I don't know where. I took some notes here, but I don't, I just kind of free wing this. Okay. So, what you do when immature parts of your personality become triggered, either the wounded, overwhelmed part of you or the defensive, entitled part, in your mind's eye, take that child in your lap, put your arms around him, love him, and take his sticky hands off the steering wheel. By sheer force of discipline and grace, you lift yourself off accustomed track A of behaving and place yourself kicking and screaming onto new track B. Okay, so the second consciousness relationship practice occurs second by second, minute by minute in your relationship when you choose B over A. Will you run your response or will it run you? You have a split second before you choose. You can react or you can respond from a place of love. As an adult, we take responsibility for doing what we can to actively shape the relationship as we go along. When your partner says something that upsets you or does something that upsets you, in the following instant, you have choices to make. Your response can be mature or immature, artful or spontaneous, thoughtful or thoughtless. Okay, so that is the whole crux, and that summarizes really well what I've been learning in this book about relationships. Isn't this a cute little top? And so this is serious stuff. This is the hard work, you guys. It is easy to just live by yourself and have nobody ever bother you. This relationship stuff is hard work. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm dying to practice because it's going to make me a better person. And I practice as much as I can with these online dating situations.